I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Has everybody had a chance to read last meeting's minutes? Changes, corrections? You good? I take a motion on the minutes. Motion to approve. Do I have a second? Seconded. Any discussion? Motion been moved and seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes? Opposed? We're gonna make a slight change in schedule. We'll have Ashley come up first. So she can take her crew out of here. She's got candy. Yes,
Right, so in front of you, I just passed out, I believe if I understood everybody correctly, we were looking for same total, but a different representation in the budget, 7 full-time, and then removing that 8th position, taking $30,000 from the 8th position, leaving it in the regular payroll line, and then taking the remaining money and putting that in the per diem line to allow for more hours. So that's what you're seeing in front of you. It does, however, we remove the money from the benefit cost, if you will. We remove that from the health and retirement lines to accommodate that 8th position. And that also got put into the per diem line. And so when you do that, it obviously made some adjustments to the Social Security, Medicare and such. But your total down at the bottom with those adjustments is within like $50 of the other. So I believe that's what the feeling was, right, that you were looking for?
Yeah, thank you.
question.
How does this compare with what the select board looked at changing last Thursday?
With the
With this budget here, did they have a different option than this?
They, for the most part, punted. They want to see this again this Thursday. They did talk about removing multiple full-time positions, like dropping down to, I think it was 6 versus, or 5 or 6.
They walked away.
Yeah,
They took them back 5 more than that.
Yeah, it was pretty indecisive, so they're supposed to see it again this Thursday to make a decision.
So why wouldn't it make sense that both the budget committee and the select board be given the same options instead of us getting the option that we looked at last meeting, and then their request for another option is different than ours, because I did hear that they're looking at reducing more than one position. I think at this point that it makes sense. I know we both meet separately, but I think we have to have all of the options on the table to see. And we all need to be looking at the same options.
All right. So the
I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but with this right here, it's showing what we talked about, and the select board even looked at a stiffer option, if I may say it that way, to reduce it more than this. So I think that all of those options, and if that means that both the select board and the budget committee review all options together, so there only has to be one meeting at that point, but I think I would like to see what the select board was looking at in removing the 3 positions, is what I heard. Not just one.
Isn't it presented as 2 separate entities
Yes.
on the town budget?
Yeah.
Or on at the vote in June? It's
Yes.
what we said and what they said.
It is, but if we don't have all of the options in front of us, then we all can't make an objective decision on it. And I, for one, would like to see what they're recommending. Because then we get to town meeting and, you know, we're gonna be asked, why didn't you consider what the select board is offering? Well, we weren't given those options, just like they weren't given this option. Maybe they would agree to this option. So I think in the end, I think we all have to have the same options to look at.
Mr. Chairman, could I offer something from the minutes on this?
So I'm
Can I
sorry.
offer something from the minutes on
That'd
this?
be lovely, please.
When it came up during the selectmen's meeting, what the budget committee had asked, it was specific by the chair and the select board that they did not want to know. That they felt that their meeting is their meeting for them to put forward their recommendations. And the budget committee should be putting forth their own recommendations based upon the budgets that were presented that were the same to both of you. And I know that was notated specifically in the minutes that they did not want that information from the budget committee.
Well, they might not, but I do want it. I want all options available to look at.
So I can print off for you what one of these scenarios that discussed. But it was -2, not -2, so it's the chief and six full-time folks. But it wasn't, I'm not trying to be wavy with Sharon. It wasn't like, it wasn't a definitive, we want 5, we want 6, it wasn't that definitive. At least I didn't perceive it as that definitive. So,
So I guess to explain it a little further, I can understand each, the budget committee and the select board, each getting a copy of what they're recommending. But I think in the long run, they have to see both options and then make a decision on both proposals. Whatever is presented to the select board and whatever is presented to the budget committee. Because up until last year, both the select board and the budget committee met jointly. And they had the same presentations. And up until last year, that changed. So I believe that when you take a proposal to town meeting, you have to compare apples to apples, and the same budget has to be put forth to the voters, not just this one was recommended by the budget committee, this one was recommended by the select board. However, we didn't see what the select board was approved, and they didn't see what we approved. I believe it has to be the same budget, and then we can vote on both budgets and see where we come out with that, but I don't think it's fair to do it this way.
well,
And
you,
like,
you,
you have something to say?
no, I think having worked together, you would obviously know that I like doing a joint large
Yes.
meeting. I think that's significantly more efficient. But the board felt that wasn't the way to do it anymore, so that's why we're doing it separately, so.
Oh, and I understand that, but however, I think that we both, and if they don't want to look at the final budget that's given to the budget committee, that's their choice. I want to see the proposal because I may like their proposal better than the one we're looking at.
Did they ask for something different from you?
They asked me to be prepared to talk about removing positions and totals and that kind, that's why I have this worked up, 1 chief, 6 full-timers, worked up right here in front of me. But the plan was to have a pretty nitty-gritty conversation on Thursday about it. So I didn't walk out of there feeling like it was a specific.
Ashley? Good.
Obviously, from my understanding, this is the last budget committee scheduled meeting, right? Am I wrong? Is there one more?
Don't worry now, it is, yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of late in the game to potentially change that. I know that I saw at the last board meeting, there was budget committee members there. and they're public meetings, they're online. I guess I would just act for you guys to move tonight, and hopefully make your objective, opinion as opposed to leaning on what they decide. They decided 2 separate meetings for a reason. And to me, everyone got the same information. It may have been presented a little different or asked, but the numbers didn't change. Like the numbers I fed the select board versus what I gave you don't change. They may have asked for different justifications on items, and obviously I can present that, but I would ask that hopefully we move forward with the new budget presented, and I would like to make a couple comments on the changes. So we had talked last meeting about the total of that per diem line to staff it 7 days a week as we have been since 2009. That number needs to be 3120. This gave us 2110. That gives us a difference of 1,010 hours at the average per diem rate that the finance director, manager, and I have used of $23.57. To fund that 4th daytime position, you would need to increase what's presented in front of you by 23,805, or if you round up, 806. But that's the only additional thing I had to make a comment on.
I was adding how much?
$23,805.70, but I think for budget, I think you have to not just change your right thing.
And that's on the
So
per
806.
diem line.
That's on the per diem line.
So I got a question. I wish I was thinking a little bit faster on my feet last week, but I think Mark brought it up. What would it cost if we got rid of the per diem and used PACE as a supplemental?
So that's not an easy answer. So, we would have to reach out to PACE and have to see if they'd be willing to take us on as a, client, if you will. They obviously do mutual aid backup, or however the phrase is. But they wouldn't necessarily have to take us on as a client. I think most of the towns they just get money from the calls.
Right.
But, certainly something we could look in the future, but
Yeah, I
it's
know.
not a
it's
definitive answer to give you right now.
Right, no, I know it's late.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's pretty late in the game. The other thing is we have a new ambulance that's about to be delivered next week.
Right.
Or not next week, sorry, the first week of April. So we also have, whatever day it is. We also have, another ambulance that's fully functional. So you would, even if you were to sell that, or, you know what I mean, you're never gonna get your money back. And that's, like I had mentioned last meeting, rescue is where we get any sort of income for the general fund, not fire. Fire can be billable, but it's been voted in the town in the past to not. And even that, it's very, very minimal in comparison to EMS billing.
I think that would be, obviously you folks can do whatever it is that you want to do with that. I think that would be one of those things that would be a good go for next year, if that's what you want to look at. And then we can research that at least a little bit ahead of time, so that both things could run parallel, if you will.
Right.
I also think,
They'd have to approve by the board of selectmen first, whether
yeah, I'd like to get their input on that and get their direction and see what they think that they would like to do. And I think they would probably, as I would, want some public input too, no offense.
No, I was just, because, if they're mutual aid anyways, and if you've got a crew that's out, they would fill in, right? Or if you have your 2 crews, and both crews are busy, they're still gonna pick up that 3rd call.
Just like we would for them. Like today, when they're running 2 transfers and 2 emergency calls,
Right,
if someone else between Paris and Woodstock and all the way to Newry, because they cover Sunday River.
Right.
And then with Bethel requires PACE a lot for intercepts. If we would cover that area when they're not there,
Right.
depending on how far out, so.
I think the other day when we talked about it too, it would increase call response times when we talked about it the other day, because we did talk about pace
right.
at the other meeting, and we were concerned with response times too, that Ashley brought up.
the other thing to think about too is PACE, can bill differently than we do. So, they can bill over and above what the insurance company pays. we don't. And we also have control of,
Bill
your
forgiveness.
guidance or forgiveness, what you wanna call it, for,
Collections and such.
residents who are having hardship, but I've supported the rescue since I've been living in Oxford, and I continue to support them. I don't think Pace is the idea, but,
No, it's just,
That's my
they're trying to cut costs somewhere, right?
right,
I mean,
That's not, changing to PACE is not going to cut costs. And this isn't the time to look at changing to a different rescue service. That requires a year of planning.
it wasn't like getting rid of Oxford Rescue.
No, I know, but if it's still, they may not have, any capabilities of taking over for what we want. That's something that would require, a research period of time, to be done. So, this isn't the setting to actually do that in any way.
No,
It
it's
would
just
be
a
something
throwing
in
it
the
out there.
future to
All
look
right,
at,
then.
yeah. I do believe that there are ways probably to cut this, that's why the selectmen may have different means and options to cut areas that this committee has not thought about. That's why I think it's important to look at all of the options. That's why I brought it up.
Can I ask something? I know we're not supposed to speak, but I've listened to all of these meetings, including the selectmen's, and they made no decisions, they haven't got a clue. But I'm telling you, I have not heard one person mention the fact that you've got a building going up with 70 apartments in it within a year and a half that are going to be over the age of 65. She is going to need paramedics. I don't care, there's no other way to put it, because if you're coming for a heart or any kind of medication, it's a paramedic she needs. If she doesn't start now, she's not gonna get them. If Edward does not get his trailer that he needs for the next 2 years, we're not gonna be able to handle the trash coming from that building. Now, I don't have any problem with the building. I just have not heard one person here express any comments about the increase in the runs, the increase in the trash. And as far as the police department, they're already behind the 8 ball. They have to have somebody go with them because we don't have double up, whatever it is. And the calls today are with a gun. Somebody's gonna get shot somewhere, and hopefully we'll have at least a paramedic to send to us. We're not looking at, I think this board should be looking at what there is in the town that you need to support. I don't think you should just be meeting for the budget. That's their job over there. Thank you, I won't say another word.
thank you.
So.
I didn't write it.
So in response to what Lois is saying, what she's saying is 100% correct. It's not this board or the select board that should be doing what Lois is saying. The fire chief, rescue chief should be advocating the reasons why the fire chief, rescue chief needs these positions. That's where the advocating needs to be coming from. And stating that just exactly what Lois said. You have to fight for your budget for the reasons that you need the staffing here. It's not up to me to tell you what you need staffing for, and I haven't heard that. Lois seems to be placing it on this board that it's our responsibility. It is not, it's the department head's responsibility to advocate why the department head needs the money it needs.
So she was pretty clear when she first presented to us about how she's even filling in to interject the factor that there's not the per diem needs being filled, and that she's coming up from her admin duties and the needs of how the positions are there. The first meeting, she was very thorough in her advocation for her needs for her budget.
Well, I'm talking about what Lois, I'm not talking about that. I agree with you. She did advocate that, but the rescue chief needs to look long-term. And what Lois just said, there's never been a mention about the building that's being built and all of the seniors. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's the department head that needs to look long-term on the needs of all their departments. Because not everyone on the budget committee may be aware of the future needs. And Lois just summed it right up. So all I'm saying is that's an argument for you to be using and a case to be making.
Unfortunately, the mill, Lois is 100% right, but the other problem with the mill is they're still lacking funding. So it's great if it goes through, however, it still could potentially not, from my understanding, I could be totally wrong, but right now, it's not a done deal. So I can't use that building to justify what I currently have. To me, that wouldn't be telling you the truth, because what if those 70 units don't come in? And then I come back to the committee next year and the budget committee goes, well, that was for those 70 apartments, that never happened, we'll cut costs then. So
But
I've
you're
done the
planning-
best I can do. I'm planning ahead by getting our staffing to what basically we have had since 2009. I've advocated and advocated. I really don't know what else I can do. I thought I shared the needs. If I missed the mark, I missed the mark.
Any more questions? Comment?
I have a comment. I appreciate that you put this together this way. This is what we asked for, and I appreciate that you brought it back to us. I wanted to just bring everybody's attention to the total budget increase of the 88,000. Of that 88,000, approximately 40 something, got moved from the CIP. So that's not even an increase in her actual budget. It's just moving money from the CIP to the budget.
Equipment supply.
Right, so that really, with these numbers, that really only increases the budget by like $40,000, which I think is remarkable. I think that's really good. I don't think you're asking for too much. I know it's an expensive department, and I know you have a lot going on, and I would really like to see you get your per diem. I'm not certain how all the motions of it work, but I would like to include the $23,806. So can I make a motion to add the 23,000?
23,000 for what?
Let me finish. $23,806 to fund the additional per diem hours that you just spoke about. Does that get you, what does that do for you?
That gives our current staffing stay the same minus the one full-timers.
Which is what I'd really like to
And
see.
just add that onto the bottom line.
Yes.
The motion been made to add the $23,806 to the $1,364,801. Have a second on that?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Could I see your hand again, please? Or which? No, no.
5-3.
So that didn't pass.
I saw 4 hands up,
And John?
I
4
vote
hands opposing it, is what I saw.
So 3-4.
3-4.
3-4. Where you are here, we need you need to vote.
There's gonna be a tie.
So
What do we do with a tie? It doesn't pass.
It doesn't pass,
It
either
doesn't
of
pass
the
either way, so.
So 4.
So now we're back on the original budget of $1,364,801.
So when we were talking about this the other day, we were talking about adding in 73,539 in order to keep the Monday through Friday, 12-hour per day per diem, and that left it at the 8 open positions. Did I have that number correct?
If we were to have left before we reconnoitered for this, yes. Yeah, so if we were to add,
73,539.
because that was the value of those hours that I cut.
So we have a motion on what we want to do.
Double check.
Make a motion that we recommend the 1.364
The 801 was the other one though.
Yeah.
Are we back to the 801 though, or are we back to the other one?
We're back to the 1,364,801.
That's the new one, the manager gave you today, that's 7 full-time.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Motion been made and then no second, so the motion died. Take another motion.
So-
Take another public comment?
Ooh,
So I'll just throw this out there. So I understand what Sharon Jackson's saying about the select board, and I do understand what you're saying. The only thing I'll throw out there to the committee is the selectmen did choose to have it separate. So I think that their thought process is that they're looking for you folks to make your own independent recommendation. I'm pretty confident with both police and fire that the selectmen are gonna be all over the map, and I don't mean that as an insult to the board. I just think that there's a lot of discussion that's gonna take place, and I don't even think they, as a group, know where they're gonna land. So I certainly would ask that this committee makes a recommendation based on what you feel is what is needed and what's right. So with that in mind, I just hope that maybe we can,
I agree, Adam, and I think
no disrespect.
I think what we decide on tonight will also have bearing on what the selectmen will decide on the next meeting. If we were to, pass the budget that we just got tonight with, the 7 full-timers, I think that would carry a lot of weight with the selectmen when they try to make that determination. And that's just from my experience of working jointly in the past.
I think that since you didn't want to go with this budget, you've got to decide as to do you want this to be more or do you want it to be less? You don't seem to be saying one way or the other. I am unwilling to make this work. I don't know what everybody else thinks. I think that the selectmen have asked Adam to make it a reasonable amount, and we've tried to move the numbers around so that she can offer more money to her full-time people and still have coverage and still keep the budget low. And I think that he's done his job, and I think that that's what we should go with, but somebody else has to decide. We can't just sit here and not decide.
I also think that the town, I mean, it was about a 70-30 split last year at town meeting, voted for 8 full-timers. And I think it's gonna be a tough pill to swallow if we cut a ton of positions. It's only been active right now for 7 months as a full-time program. there's open spots in most departments in the town right now. And I think some of it very much has to do with budget. 7 months isn't a lot of time for a full-time program to be full. I know it's easy to cut spots when there's not a person in that position. I think it's gonna be tough when some folks in the town say, oh, I voted for 8 full-time and now we're down to 5 or 6 or 7. I don't know if those people are heard if we keep cutting it. And they're not getting the same coverage that they have for years and years.
But even at that, we're using the money. You've used up as almost all the money. This is 8 months worth of money is 67%. We've used up 63% and still not staffed. So I don't see how.
Some of that's because of the overtime.
Some's overtime, some's per diems, like our per diem line is higher than the full-time. Some is, we're dealing with a department that has been put on the back burner for years and years and stayed status quo. And we're trying to get out of the status quo and get to 2026 and all of our operating.
And I think that that's what we felt last week, was that if you were able to take that money and put it toward higher pay, then you would be able to fill those positions that you can't fill now and wouldn't have to have overtime. And I guess I felt that was somewhat of a solution, instead of saying, all right, we've gotta have all 8.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think the 7 is a more than fair compromise. I think if we keep decreasing the full-time line, it's gonna have different feelings. And this budget doesn't present the coverage that we're offering right now.
If you're without 2 or 3 positions, how can you say that this budget doesn't cover what you have now?
What I mean is the staffing, like you're not getting, like sometimes we're at 3 during the day if someone calls out, but what I mean is you're not even allowing us, by this budget, we're gonna be at 3, at least guaranteed 5 days a week. And then, that could put us lower.
I think what you're trying to say is this proposal removes a per diem during the day, 5 days a week, so
Right.
opposed to right now, you're running 2 per diems during the day for a total of 4.
Yeah.
That would speak for it.
When we were talking before, when you presented to us, the amount that you gave us to keep the money to buy per diem, and then the extra 23,806. I think the 23,806 should actually be more to match your number.
So the per diem line from the original one, to keep it status quo, would have to be increased to 73,539. The difference in that regular payroll line would have been, that I asked for, was 29,352
To increase the hours.
for the full timers separate. And then, I feel like I'm missing one number to give to you.
The 23,806.
Is the difference in the new one that you got today with the 7 full timers. This right now has 2,000, it's bold and underlined, the 2,110 hours. That came from the additional money from the full timer cut in the benefits, moved up into that line. So that covered 2,110 hours out of the 3,120 hours cut by the manager's recommendation on that initial per diem line. So the difference of the 23,806 still has the 7 full-timer gone, but keeps us at the 2 additional per diems during the day to create that 4 that I keep mentioning.
I would really like to see the 22,806 added to the 1,364,801. And I say that because times are changing, and I can tell you from experience as being a chief that there's a lot more paperwork, there's a lot more reporting, there's a lot more Department of Labor standards. And if we added the 22,806, then actually could do more administrative and still have the coverage. But if we're going to have a full-time rescue fire department that we voted in last year, I think we ought to do just service to it and allow her to be able to properly protect the town.
Was that a motion, Mr. Chairman?
That's a motion. Again, we'll try it again. I have a second on my motion. Second in discussion. All in favor? Opposed? 4-3. It'll pass.
And if you're here, you need to vote.
Yeah, I know. Still, sorry.
We good on that, Kathleen?
Nope, I mean.
Yeah.
You need to
Okay.
vote.
Or-
All right. You good?
Thank you.
So I want to clarify. Sorry to do this. So are we saying the total recommendation, 1,388,607? That's
Yep.
1,388,607. Thank you. I didn't mean to beat that. I just,
Oh, it's okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for bringing bodyguards.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, the ice cream shop is open. Oh.
You can have ice cream for dinner, Crystal.
Not on your birthday, you can have candy for candy. So, moving on, we'll go back to the agenda for third party. Seniors Plus. Anybody here for Seniors Plus? Nobody here for Seniors Plus? Hysterical Society.
Hi, everybody. Tricia Larrabee. You have the paperwork here in front of you. I'm the president of the Oxford Historical Society in support request. It's a small amount for the service that we provide in support of the library in the town. We get lots of calls, we get lots of visitors, we do lots of fundraising on our own. I know we're set at the $2,000, based on the ordinance, and, I think we have a lot to offer the town, and as you can see, what we're showing, for what we have available now in our account is, 90% of that is volunteer fundraising, all summer long, to raise those funds to keep the K House Museum open and the research library. We have a board of 8. I'm sorry, we have a board of 8, we have 5, so we're very active. We have 5 board members plus many volunteers. So, if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Questions? Thank you. All right, so we got a new list now, so Life Flight of Maine, anybody here from Life Flight? Cancer Resource Center? Step right up.
want me to stick to it. I'm Stephanie LeBlanc, I'm gonna go over there.
I knew you were Diane, but you know.
I'm not Diane, Diane retired.
She did.
We have a new director, her name is Danny Searles. She comes to us from the Maine Cancer Foundation, which is amazing. We're so happy to have her because she has a lot of grant experience. Her background is health education, and she just started in December. So, I am currently here as a volunteer for the Cancer Resource Center. I am oncology social worker at Stevens and at the center, but I'm currently on medical leave. I'm here as a volunteer, because I also own property in Oxford. So we are requesting $1,000 from the town of Oxford. We supported 33 residents in Oxford. We did put a list in of the different services that we have, so I'm not gonna go over every single one of them unless people have questions. I will give you some numbers of what 2025 looked like. We had 79 new cancer patients in 2025. We have a resource navigator who met with 141 individuals. And we serve 66 different towns in Western Maine. So we're primarily Oxford County. We say we're Oxford County and surrounding towns. Historically, for town funding, I've just looked at Oxford County, but now we're looking at the towns that are also using our resources like Mechanic Falls, Poland, and asking for funds from them. We supplied gas cards to 121 individuals. We have a soup program. It's called the Healthy Soup Program, which is growing faster than we can really do anything with. We're meeting with Bridgeton Community Center. They may start making soups for us. But when we have patients who've been driving all day in treatment and get home and just do not have the energy to cook a healthy meal, we don't want them stopping and getting something that's unhealthy. So we have 6 different soups that are homemade by 2 volunteers who've been through a cook program, and they're frozen and they can take them home and heat them up. And they're all from cancer cookbooks. So like there's ginger carrot for nausea, things like that. So I'm just putting a pledge out so you know for next year. My goal for next year is to get enough town funding to cover all the gas we need for our patients to get to appointments, because a lot of places don't understand the ruralness of Oxford County. And even our patients who live in Oxford still have to drive to Central Maine for radiation, or to Portland for radiation, or to Portland for surgery, or multiple times. So you will see an increase next year, just putting it out there now so people will be aware. Because ultimately that's my goal. I'm the one who started town funding. I used to work at the Sexual Assault Center, and when I got to the center, I said, "Why aren't you asking for town money?" They're like, "What's that mean?" And so I started low with towns, but you will see an increase next year. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to do the math of what we've spent on gas money for the last 3 years, and my goal is to try to get town funding to cover all of that. Because this year is the first year we have no grant for gas money, and we're feeling it, and we're doing everything in our power to raise additional funds for gas money. But I'd rather work with patients than do fundraisers. So we're trying to figure out how to fill that gap. Again, the list of services are there of what we do. If anybody wants me to go over it, I will, but y'all have it contained.
Any questions for Stephanie? Thank you.
Maybe you'll meet Danny next year. She was gonna come today, but she's sick.
That's all right.
And we told her to keep her germs home.
Yeah, thank you. Idea. We appreciate that. So, Safe Voices, no. Sweets, no. Somebody else is here from third party. Unless Shane wants to talk about one of them. No, okay. We voted on the library already, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Double check.
I was concerned it might have been more of a lengthy discussion, so I wanted it on a separate night.
That's fine. My memory's not as good as it was 30 years ago.
There's a song about that.
Any, questions or comments on third party?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I know it's not very popular, but when I give my money to a nonprofit, I expect my money to go to that nonprofit. When I give my money to taxes, I expect it to go to roads and administration. I don't expect it to have my money or me deciding which organization you want to support. And there are many, and all of these are worthy. But I don't think the town should be in the business of choosing which ones the town needs to give money to. I don't feel it's our place to give taxpayer money for a nonprofit.
Is this the first year that we're donating to Sweetser? Because I didn't see it in the past 3 budget years, or the past 2 budget years.
So for clarifications, last year, Seniors Plus got 2,000, Historical Society got 2,000, Cancer Resource got 1,000. So it's a total of 5,000. But last year, the other ones listed on here were not included last year.
Sweetser, did they take over Tri-County? Or Sweetser took over Tri-County? I can't remember that, one of them took over Tri-County.
Sweetser did request last year,
What's that?
but you did not. The Sweetser requested last year.
Included in the list of
Did
ones
not.
that were approved.
So they applied, but they didn't get approved?
They may have applied, yes, but they didn't get approved in the list yet.
And the 3 on the bottom didn't fill out all the paperwork?
Correct, yeah, and the last one, Team Haley Hugs, came in late.
Johnny, you're looking for motions on individual ones.
You do, if you have like 3 or 4 you wanna do, we can do it together, or we can do separate, doesn't matter either way. I was just looking at what we did last year. And I have a personal feeling that if you want money from me, you ought to come to the meeting. So, I was just looking at the 2 that were here, but I'd take a motion.
I make a motion that we refund the request for the Oxford Historical Society, the King House Museum, for the $2,000.
Second.
A motion been made and seconded to fund the Historical Society for $2,000. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passed.
I'll make a motion to give $1,000 to, recommend $1,000 to the Cancer Resource Center.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded. Motion made and seconded to donate $1,000 to the Cancer Resource Center of Western Maine. All in favor? Oh,
Can I see your hands again? Hi.
favor?
All in favor? All right. And opposed? So just the one?
You can count Ann in favor.
Okay, yes. If
The
you,
math doesn't work.
right, so if you're here, you need to vote. And I need you to hold your hand up so I can see it clearly, please.
I'll make a motion for $2,000 for Senior Plus.
Motion's been made for $2,000 for Seniors Plus. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Discussion?
What do they do for Oxford?
It was in the packet.
I didn't read all that. Can someone just verify for me just quickly?
For Seniors Plus, it was Meals on Wheels, there was nutrition counseling, if I remember correctly. there was a couple of components, if I'm remembering the one that I read, where it saved them, it helped navigate medical bills with them, and it saved them things, so just resources and there's
Oh, I
community.
see.
Sure.
Got it. Thank you, sorry about that.
It'll help you navigate Medicare and all that too.
Yeah, that was the other thing that,
They
Yeah.
provide a lot of
And they have a lot of, educational classes. I work a lot with Seniors Plus in my job, so. And we work in Lewiston, but they do the same up here, but just not on a large scale.
They are a helpful.
tell us
organization to
how
the towns.
many, I think that they helped in our area too.
121.
Did we get a second on the motion? Yes,
Yes.
all right. More discussion, questions? All in favor of giving $2,000 to Seniors Plus? Opposed? It's a tie,
Fails.
it failed. Any more discussion, do we wanna make a, donation to somebody else, or do we wanna move to the next budget?
So I wanna make a motion that we give Lifelike $1,057. I understand that they're not here, but they're an invaluable resource for our community.
I also think they charge people,
Is there-
where some of these other organizations don't.
I'm sure that they do.
Yeah, they do. I've read their packet.
I'm sure that they do.
The motion has been made to fund Lifelike for $1,057. Do I have a second? No second? Motion dies. I make a motion that we move on to the next budget. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed?
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for coming.
Can I do the follow-ups, real quick?
Yes, this is the police department, public work.
Yeah, the two, because the mowing bids came in, remember those were pending. I wasn't 100% clear on exactly how you wanted to see this, but, so Public Works, the mowing came in, and it was about a 60-40 split between the cost between rec and Public Works. So, Public Works mowing, 20,160, which is within the budget we had proposed. That would make the Public Works budget 1,022,674. And then recreation, 13,440, and that would make the budget 209,11. So you guys just wanted, I believe, for me just to report back if it was less. Do you want me to reduce the budget numbers to accommodate that lower amount? Or did you want me to leave them at the same that they were before?
What's the difference on them?
So let me see here. So for instance, recreate, well, darn it all, did you keep that, Beth? I didn't do a very good job on that. Let me see, I got it right here, so.
I think it was 17,600 correct.
Thanks, Sharon. It would have been 213,171 versus 209,11.
And in the budget, without going and looking at it, the budget showed 209 and it will be 213.
The other way around.
The other way around?
Yeah. So the budget showed 213 and it will be 209. Because of the lower bid.
And that was in Public Works.
That's in
Right.
That
recreation.
one's in the recreation one.
Did you hire the same company for both?
Yep.
Nice, good.
They bid for both of them. So. So if you guys are good, I will leave it the same, because we did have a motion and so forth, I just wanted to
Yeah,
throw
I
it out.
don't have a problem with that. That line is different.
I wouldn't reduce it because, with mowing, if you need additional mowings, then you put the money there.
Wholeheartedly agree. Okay, and then, all right, so that was those updates, and then if, I guess next is the PD. So at the last meeting, we pass out the budget with 10 and then 9. Did we pass that out?
Yes.
10 and 11, excuse me. Yeah, and the selectmen have seen this, by the way. So the only comments I'm gonna make before we get started, if that's all right, is union negotiations are still going on. Everybody's negotiating in good faith. Everything is, everything is going as well as it can. I don't wanna sound despaired. I do not think this is gonna be settled in the next month. I don't think this is gonna be settled in 2 months. I think this is going to take a while. That's not because they're being unfair or we're being unfair, it's just the nature of the beast. So, couple thoughts. One, if the budget committee wants to come up with a number, that's fine. Or maybe another approach would be to approve everything but the payroll benefits portion, which I realize is small, and then approve the number of officers that you want to see funded. Maybe that would be an approach. I'm just trying to throw some ideas out there. But I'm afraid if we try and wait for the union negotiations to conclude, that we'll be waiting until after the warrant is printed. So, that's just the reality.
Well, if we were to pass a budget tonight, which include full-time, that sort of put the restriction on what we can pay in the contract, correct?
Well, what if this committee votes to approve a maximum budget amount, then whatever's negotiated, yes, that could cause some reduction in staffing or adjustments to staffing or what have you. So it's kind of a little bit of a pickle.
Are we looking at the one that is stamped March 10th?
You have, you have the one.
There's like 3 of them.
Last week, he gave us the one with the green header and then one with a blue header. You have those.
On March 12th.
And then there was the updated of the other one, right, that he gave us on the first meeting.
And that's the one I have. I
Yeah.
didn't bring, I don't, thanks, I didn't bring that
So,
one.
yeah, it should have 3 separate budgets, one for 9 personnel, full-time people, one for 10 and one for 11.
Does anybody else need one of these?
So can I ask a question? Ricky, which one of these 3 provides you with what you need for coverage?
With what I need would be the 10 full-time,
What color is that?
the blue one.
Okay.
Blue for police.
The blue for 10 would take out the SRO officer, right?
It would. And I don't want to diminish those positions. I can see how things are progressing and I know what the need is. That would be my compromise to it.
You get a grant that pays time for SRO, right?
Yes.
Would that be enough to pay the person hourly rate if you had like you hired a retired officer who worked at the school year?
It would pay half, just in town, we'll have to fund the other half. For the length of the grant, and then the fourth year, we would be required to pick it up full, and then we can dispose of it, keep it after that. So technically, it would be a 4-year thing. And again, like I said, I'm not diminishing the need for an SRO. I think we all watch the news and you can see everything that's going on. Our community is not, escaping all of that. But again, trying to be reasonable here and, having that extra officer, to help do investigations is vital at this point. That's why I'm choosing to go that way if we need to.
But that individual could also do walkthroughs of the school, or a patrol officer could do walkthroughs of the school and stuff, right?
Absolutely.
So with the addition, the SRO is added on to the green one,
That would be the green one,
and
yes.
that's about 124,000. Just your rough numbers, right? More.
Right.
Can a motion be made now?
Yeah.
For discussion?
Yeah.
I would make a motion for the 1649,813 for the 11 with the SRO. I think that the voters, well, I'll say that in discussion, but I'll make a motion for that.
For $1,649,813.
That includes the SRO for
Yeah.
11.
So the motion been made, second.
I'll second.
Motion been made, seconded, discussion.
So my thought process on that is, I do know the need for SROs in schools. There is a great need. I think that this community does realize the drug problems in the schools, and it's all of the schools. We would be blind if we didn't know it. I think that is something that the voters should decide on with the SRO. And that's why I would propose the higher budget going to the voters and let them decide. It's the highest number that's gonna be on the warrant anyway.
Because in the town, if I'm wrong, but in the town meeting, you can't go up on the budget, you go down, correct?
You can't go, you can't increase it, but if this is, the number that goes on the warrant
They can
is
increase
going to be the highest number approved by the budget committee and or the selectmen when the article is drafted. And that way, that number can't be increased. But if the higher number of the budget committee and the selectmen is that number there, and that's the number that is put on, it can't be increased, but it can be decreased.
Yeah, that's why we always put the higher one in the warrant article.
So that's my
Choice.
reasoning.
What's the staffing level now? Is it 9 or 8?
8 technically.
I guess I'm not very comfortable with asking anybody in the town to say, let's have a 34% increase in the regular payroll budget for police in 1 year. In a year where everybody talks about taxes. And going from 8 to 11 is a big jump.
When you hairdresser, how many full-time did you have?
At that time, I think we had 9.
Well, just to be, I wanna make sure we're all talking the same language here. So at last town meeting, we budgeted for, we had a chief, captain, 6 officers and 2 sergeants, right, chief?
Yes.
So
Yes.
So the
or the 11th is the administrative
So that
assistant.
represents the 11, right?
There's only 10 offices technically.
10 sworn people
positions.
plus the administrative assistant, so maybe I should have made that clear. So you're not asking for more officers, you're asking for status quo. And I'm asking to remove the 2 open positions. That's the 2 differences in our approach.
So in other words, the rate of pay to these officers from 25 to 26 has gone up 34%.
Yes, ma'am. If,
And with the new contract, they would like more, I'd be willing to bet.
and that's an estimate, yes.
You could technically lock them into, is that the 3% like everybody else plus the
Merit,
merit?
that's what I use as a placeholder.
So I mean, even if they grieve it and they go to arbitration, the town cannot be forced to pay
Anymore,
anything different.
right?
And we also, those 2 open positions, if we were, if those get approved, it doesn't mean that we're hiring somebody on step 8. Maybe we pick up a junior person who costs significantly less, doesn't need to go to the academy. I shouldn't be making the argument for you.
No, it's, I mean, I agree with Sharon, I agree with that, and, from a department head, it's hard for me to say that, I'd love to have them both, yes, I see the need for them, I definitely do. But I also understand, taxes and all of that, that's why I was asking for the 1 extra. I say extra, it was the one that I was afforded last year, and I give up the SRO. And then we'll have to make amends with the officers to try to go into the school as much as possible, which I'm more than willing to do.
I'd give them free coffee.
I mean, I see I see the benefit. I mean, I taught DARE for 13 years. I mean, my heart is with them. I fully get it. All my kids have gone through the school system. Everybody wants to save $1 until something happens in school and everybody asks why. Nobody was there. And that's gonna be a tough day.
I don't even look at the DARE program as being my fundamental reason for having an SRO. Having an SRO in the school helps kids that may be bullied because of drugs in the school, may be bullied for any other reason. And that blocks a lot of that from happening.
And it forms relationships with a lot of those
It
kids
does.
because the household that they grow up in isn't really police friendly.
No, and
Sometimes it gives them a better look on life as they go through the school.
so there are many, many reasons that I support SROs in school
And Sharon, I will say, as far as the DARE program, DARE isn't just about drugs anymore.
no, I know that.
They do a lot with computer crimes and things like that, so it's not based on drinking and drugs.
Yeah, there's only about, 1 or 2 lessons on drugs and alcohol, the rest of it,
Out of the 10 lesson plan, there was like 3, and the rest was
Life
making
skills.
good decisions and, life skills.
I agree with Sharon, and I would like to present the green budget with the 11. And then, if the townspeople decide that they don't want to go with 11, then, that's their decision, but if we go with the 9 and then the townspeople want 10 or 11, we can't do it at town meeting, so.
Adam,
Mhm.
does the $1,025,700 in the green budget include the grant?
No, that's that $1.6 million is the cost of everybody.
Okay.
Now, I guess if we move forward with that, one of the options I suppose would be that we would accept the grant, and that would help offset some of the costs. So
But Well, that could be presented at town meeting.
Yeah, I kind of want to get added to the bottom of it, that about the grant and taking it off from the total of the 1.6.
Well, the total, we still have to appropriate via 1.6 million. Grant would offset the amount of tax income that had to go towards that budget. So in order for the chief to spend the money, we have to appropriate that amount of money.
And the grant would only be for, you said it's 125 for 3 years, so it'd
Yes.
only be $40,000.
Correct.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of appropriating $1,649,813. Opposed? Doesn't pass. Moving on. We still have two budgets left. Do I have a motion on one of them?
I'll make a motion to approve 1,525,783.
Motion been made to appropriate 1,525,783. Do I have a second on that? Seconded. Discussion? No discussion? Cool. All those in favor of appropriating 1,525,783 for the police budget? Opposed? So that one passed.
It's the first time I've heard a chairman say cool. Capital request for the PD, we tabled that as well. Do we want to square the only,
It was. It was a question about a cruiser because of how many personnel you have. So 9, did you have to add that cruiser in?
I can make what I have work for a year. With that being said, I can make it work this year, but to stay in the line of having decent cruises where I'm not paying maintenance out really bad, next year I would need to have another car.
so we would just shove everything out of here basically?
Yeah.
The ask would still be, even if we don't get a vehicle, would be to to appropriate $25,000 towards future savings for purchasing vehicles in the future. So,
I'd make that a motion.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion?
What was the motion? Sorry,
25,000
for this year.
for this year.
Okay.
For this coming
Okay
year.
with it.
Yeah. Motion's been made, seconded. Discussion? Karen? Oh, you get ready to vote already? All in favor? Opposed? Good deal.
thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Stay safe, Rick. Thanks.
General government, you want me to go ahead and get cracking on that?
Get cracking.
Want me to talk really slow to keep us here all night?
No.
No? Yes, I've already had my intervention. Okay, so, general government. So I have a habit of going through all the lines. Do you want me to do that, or do you want me to just keep doing what I've been doing, go through all the lines along the way here, or?
Why don't you just, I'm okay if you just highlight the areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the others may want to go through it totally.
All right, So you see the regular salary, 593, 735. That is an increase over last year. Let's see, I'll hit the highlights. Health insurance did go up to $144,427, which is like $8,900 increase. And that is based on the enrollment of the current employees. Looking for the bigger tickets here. Propane did go down significantly. I know he's not here, Joe Wax. He was a big pusher on us getting owning the tanks here at the town office. And because of that, we were able to take advantage of the bid price. So $64.89. So it's a $5,400 decrease. That's pretty exciting. Actually, you probably all see the tanks out back. Let's see.
Can you touch on the internet?
Oh, yes, that was silly of me. Yes, internet. So the internet goes to $36.48. That's a $2,200 increase. And the reason for that is we've had a lot of requests from the public to add public Wi-Fi here at the town office so that when people come in and they go to register their car or they need things, they can go right on their phone because the phone reception in this building is garbage. So we've heard that request pretty steady since we've been here. So I asked the town clerk to reach out, and that is the quote that we received was $184, and that's through Spectrum. So the reason it's more, as she explained the other day, was because we're locked in at $120 a month for our current Wi-Fi, but this is like adding a whole nother internet connection because it has to be separate from our regular network and so forth. So that's
It's
why.
not something that can go outdoors and make your phone work.
So I think, so that's the gist. If you folks, this was kind of a nice deep customer service. If you folks I don't mean this in a derogatory way. If it's too much, take it out. So.
But it is because it's a metal building, right?
I don't know what it is. It's just when they come in here, the phones for some people, like my Verizon phone works great in here, but others don't.
Can I speak to that?
Of course.
The town clerk. So it is a request that I have for our office. We do make people go stand outside. So elderly
It does
individuals,
work, right?
they have to go stand outside, no matter what the weather is. We cannot process a registration without proof of insurance. Many insurance companies now do not send, the actual card. It's a mobile, on your phone. And unless somebody has preloaded it or taken a picture on their phone, once they get to the counter,
But they could do that ahead of time, knowing that's required.
they can. Most people still don't understand that we need to see proof of insurance or the requirements that we have. But as I said, no matter what the weather is, they have to go stand outside. And the other part is we have to wait. So we have 2 counters, and if there's somebody we are waiting for at that counter because they are walking around the parking lot trying to get, cell service, that ties up a counter and people are waiting. So it's, and not just in my point of view as a town clerk, a public service. It is a service for somebody coming in, ease of service and quicker service for anybody behind them.
How long has it been a required facet that you have to show your proof of insurance when you come to register?
Ever.
Yes, I have.
It's not new.
That's like,
I totally get what you're saying.
You've been getting by all
Because
the
you
time.
don't wanna be the bad guy either.
You've been squeaking by all the time. Where's
How
Ricky Jack?
often does the town shop around for insurance providers, internet providers?
That is out of my purview.
What was your question?
How often is the town shopping around for internet providers? Because, I mean, I have Spectrum and I hate them, but I'm kind of locked in where I'm at. So,
It's really expensive.
so, I mean, I know in different parts of the town you can get different internet providers. So, is there other providers that we can go with?
So the selectmen talked about this very item the other day at their meeting, because they went through they had time, they went over the admin stuff. And they moved forward with what was proposed, but that was their request to me, is between now and then is to find out if there's a less expensive option, and if there is, to go with it. So
That's my recommendation.
City admitted that, yeah.
the thought process was that yes, they have, but I haven't checked them. check out specifically the suggestion.
There's not too much
No.
on stage for
Good answer.
Sharon.
I just want to confirm everything Kathleen said. Working in a town office, that's an absolute necessity for customers. We also have a lot of customers that come in and we have the same situations. And it's the elderly that still, they're still coming in, and a lot of them, they'll have younger people coming in. And actually, it's the younger people too, coming up. Why do I have to show my insurance? And, having that service available for them, it doesn't just make it more convenient for them, but it makes it more convenient for the staff to be able to do their job. So, I think that is a customer service
I know,
that should be
for
provided.
$2,000 on a $1.1 million budget,
It's not gonna move a penny.
no. Yeah,
No, but it is a sticker shock when it jumps that much.
Mhm.
That's all I was looking at.
yeah.
Not a new requirement.
Spectrum is I'm stuck with Spectrum like you are.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
like-
down the road, I can tell you.
They're expensive,
And it depends on where you are.
Right.
Spectrum is probably the worst.
Yes.
I just got rid of them where
Right, you have that option. They've kind of monopolized
yeah,
the road I'm on.
and I mean, for my house, I pay way too much money
Yeah.
for where I work. I was able to get away from Spectrum.
Yeah.
But Adam doesn't have the opportunity to go with the same companies in Bethel as they do in Oxford. And because the prices here are pretty good in comparison to, the prices that I've looked at. I don't think they're out of reach.
yeah.
We are locked into a particular plan.
Yeah.
That they no longer offer, which is
Grandfather.
why
Yeah.
this amount is higher than the other amounts across the board. We were grandfathered into that.
Any other discussion, questions?
I have a question on the election stuff. Do we really have 11 people running on election day? It looks like between the two budget lines, we've got 11 on election day.
So we're, our staffing for election was mandated by state law.
Oh, okay.
One other thing that I didn't mean to glaze over, but the water, I did want to mention that 63,888, that is the hydrant, quarterly hydrant cost. That was in that municipal tab that was separate from this one, and we moved it over here under the general,
In administration,
under this general government tab, yeah.
why wouldn't you put that in the fire department? Because they're hydrants. I questioned why it was in the fire department budget when I got to Bethel, because I was used to seeing it in the one where we used to have it here. But now that I think about it, I think it makes more sense to be in the fire department budget because of the fact that they are hydrants. So that's just a question for future thought.
For future thought, I don't see that as a bad idea. This year where we had the municipal tab and I was trying to get rid of that god awful
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I saw it as a general government function. I didn't even think, but that makes sense. So, but this is where I landed as a general government. Let's see, you asked about elections.
Your office supplies category went down, is that because you moved it to different places?
Yes, yeah, we kind of split that up with, so office supplies and where the heck did the other pieces go? We had split it apart from equipment, thank you. Yeah. And you see the $1,000 go into that equipment line. Thank you.
For training and conferences,
Mm-hmm.
it's a $2,000 increase, but when you look at the 2026 budget so far, there's only $2,374 used for this current fiscal year for training.
Yeah.
But there's more needed for next year.
So here's what we run into is we added mileage to this line, mileage reimbursement. Also, have some newer staff, one of them might be sitting in this room. So I'm very training oriented and professional development oriented, and I really want to make sure people are staying current. And I also want to make sure that people are putting in for mileage when appropriate. Of course, we have a town vehicle, and we try and use that as much as we can, but looking at what's coming up and so forth, that's why that is the way that it is.
And there is a lot of spring training, so we
Yeah.
haven't even started down that road yet.
I have 4 coming up.
Yeah, spring,
Yeah,
especially the
Yeah,
clerk's office for sure.
Do you want us to cut it from the budget?
Yeah, and their trainings are really exciting, aren't they?
Sure.
Streetlight maintenance, you see that zeroed out. The reason that that's zeroed out is because we actually have a capital reserve for streetlight repairs. It has funds in it right now, and the way I was going to approach that is in the event that that gets drawn down throughout the year, I'll ask for a capital request the following year at town meeting.
And then insurance is also moving.
Yeah. Oh yes. So just like all the other ones, the liability insurance has been moved from that municipal tab into the general government tab. And unemployment. What happens on the other line? I get into my drone routine. So that gives you a total general government amount of $1,160,528.
Behind the budget, on the budget report, there's page 32 for unemployment, but I don't see that on here. Is that tied into one of the lines? Oh, never mind.
First page.
Yep.
I see
It says N01 XXXX.
Oh, the second page, I see it at the bottom.
more questions?
I just have one.
Mhm.
The animal control officer, that following page back there. So it's listed at 6860 year to date, but on the police budget, it was listed as a $4,100 line item, I believe. Was there multiple, is that his supplies plus his wages?
So we had a lot of nice people that took animals to
Yes.
Strawberry Ave.
Yeah.
So even if they arrive deceased, if they came from Oxford, we have to cremate, we get the bill. So there seems to be an influx of that lately.
Yeah. So, and we have to pay for
Say you picked them up in Poland.
Right. We advertise that. They did not come to Oxford.
I made a lot of comments like that, and they were not well received by anybody.
No?
But they seemed to appreciate it from you, so I wanted to do that. That was good, yeah.
Nobody from home. What did you spend extra $5,000 this year on financial audit?
So the audit costs it increased. Also, through the transition we had a couple of changes in the finance department and stuff. Ended up asking the auditor to help us kind of square away some accounts and stuff too. So, get our ducks in a row. And they were really great to help us.
It is fair. We've also gone to a different kind of audit, which is, they're saying is more costly.
Yeah, the audit he gave us a higher cost for this coming year too.
More questions? I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve $1,160,528.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Passed.
Thank you.
Now we're going to CIP, correct?
Yes, please, so, I'll just take a second, I'll open her up. All right, so for general government CIP, the ask this year is $10,000. The planned project for this year is a $7,000 upgrade to the out front, and that's to add a third clerk window. So the way that it is right now, the thought process is to put a window in so that the town clerk from her office can have access and we could service 3 people all at the same time. As I was reminded the other day, that is the way that it was at the old town office. It's just when we moved here, we didn't have, we weren't able to do that right out of the gate. So the plan is to do the $7,000 worth of work, but the ask is $10,000 to save towards, being able to do that, but also save towards the future. Looking at replacing some of the exterior doors in the future. Also looking at doing some other updating to the hopefully the assessor code office, and looking to the future, trying to make things a little more efficient. Yeah, so that's the ask is 10,000.
Question? Comment? Motion?
Make a motion for $10,000.
Motion made for raise $10,000 for the CIP. For a second. I'll second it. All in favor? Opposed? Passed.
Thompson Lake Dam, the ask is $10,000. The dam, yeah, $10,000. That is our typical contribution to that. As a reminder, the 3 other towns, they donate a total of $15,000 towards this as well. The selectmen did ask that I reach out to the other 3 towns and ask them to consider increasing their contributions, which I will be doing shortly. But the ask here is $10,000. Our next big project is the retaining wall that's down there. If you look at that, it's pretty rough. This is also used for emergency repairs, like the center gate, the lifting mechanism just recently gave up the ghost, so that's something that is being addressed right now. So the ask is 10,000.
Question? Comment? Motion?
Motion to accept the 10,000.
Motion raised 10,000 for a second. Seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Passed.
Cemeteries. So the traditional ask has been a $5,000 ask. We have worked on getting some things in a little bit better condition with some of the stone repairs. This year, however, also looking to replace some fencing at both Craigie and Weberbrook. You can see there's estimates in there for $1,200 each. That's Public Works doing the work, us buying the materials. They feel comfortable being able to do that. So it's projected at least $2,400 worth of work. Also, we'd like to do other stone repairs along the way. I don't have those listed in here because we just have been trying to do those when we can. So it's a total of a $5,000 ask.
Question?
Is there a cemetery committee that was at one time, has that been disbanded or?
There was at one time, but we don't have one right now.
So that's all you or mowing, is that done by?
That was, the mowing is part of the mowing bid, for Public Works.
all
yeah.
field?
But it's not paid out of this.
No, it's out of the Public Works, but
More question? Motion?
Motion to approve 5,000.
Motion been made to approve 5,000, I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
All right, so back to the general assistance.
Do we have to go over the Welch bill or not?
There's not an ask
$0,
this year
but-
yet. I included it so you could see it, but. So general assistance, the ask, or excuse me, the budget is $9,900. There's a breakdown on there of where that came from. We are looking to add $1,500 to this for the GA software. And then we also have an average of 80 applicants a year. And it goes through, I've broken down the average cost for applicant about $350. What we receive, 70% of the cost reimbursed from the state. So that brings us to the $9,900.
Well, I think you did pretty good. Pretty good for that.
Yeah, our GA administrator is pretty hardcore this year.
Good.
What does this go to, like, heating oil, things like that?
Yep, if they qualify for general assistance, it could be heating oil, it could be, electrical, it could be those kind of things.
What does the new software do for you?
Do you want to hit on that, or?
Yeah, so the software is actually a general assistance software. It's preloaded with everything, as far as, what all the figuring is when you are going through and have to do your compilations of what they've, if they qualify for, keeps all of our cases right online, runs all your reports, prints everything in, so it's more accurate, it's cleaner, it's quicker.
Is it a one time or is it every year?
That cost is every year, yeah. For their upkeep service, they update anytime state laws change, it's automatically updated into the software.
It makes it easier at audit time, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there would be less mistakes
Mhm.
if if your GA administrator is doing the figures by hand and the formula.
It makes it a lot more accountable, for the staff doing it. With an average of 80, clients, that is, I really think that is a supported need. I could support that.
Plus personnel hours too.
Yes, it would be, John.
Personnel. So, any more questions, comments? Motion,
Motion to approve the GA budget as presented, 9,900.
and second? Seconded, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passed.
Next is everybody's favorite, debt service. All right, so debt service, just real quick. Town office, the payment is $92,505. Our old road bond has expired or was paid off, so that one is gone. But the new road bond, the first payment is due this year, that's $618,032. This is a reminder that was voted on at town meeting last year. The ambulance, that is gonna be delivered next month. The selectmen made a decision last week to use fund balance just to go ahead and pay that off rather than make payments moving forward. So that has been removed from this year's debt service. The money that was raised last year towards that is going towards that purchase. The mini pumper, that has a lease purchase in place. We have not received that vehicle yet, but it was supposed to come in, so we moved forward with the lease purchase. And then what ended up happening was that there was something wrong with how it was put together. The paint or something like that was wrong, so then it had to go back and get refinished or whatever. And that process is still going on. We're hoping to see that in the next few months. But the payment for the mini pumper is $67,230. Front end loader for public works, that's $76,118. And then we don't need to, the TIFs are actually projected to make enough revenue this year. We don't need to put any extra money aside for the water line or the sewer line. which will be paid by the TIFs. So that's 853,885, and then the TIFs will be paying an additional 939,473 for the water and sewer.
Questions? Comment?
How long is the bond for the road?
It's a 6-year road bond, and it should be expired in 11/31. I did have sheet notes on that, just, I didn't actually pull it out.
Any other questions, comments? Motion?
Motion to approve the 853, 888, 885.
Get late. Have a second? Seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Passed.
So lastly, revenues. The revenues you see in front of you are projected. I'm gonna kind of just point out a couple of things rather than read through every single one of them. The first thing I'll point out is excise tax at the top. Every year, kind of have to make a judgment call based on what we're seeing come through and so forth. You see that last year was a pretty good spike, up just over $1 million for actual. But that we haven't hit that mark in a while. It seems like excise tax is like an ebb and flow with people buying cars. So when I generally like to look at a 3-year average on most, unless there's other circumstances. So I excluded last year because it was such a spike, and I'm leaning on an average of the previous 2 years, so the 22 and the 23. And that's where I'm coming with my 904,818. Feel like that's a pretty comfortable place, but I also get very nervous about counting on it too much on how many new cars can people buy. So I don't want to over lean on that. Another one is, let's see here. Building permits, that's another good one to look at. So building permits, as you can see, it's the same, similar idea. We had a spike rate in, not last year, but the year before, where we just had a lot of building going on, a lot of activity, which was wonderful. We also had a lot of solar fields. We had a lot of those kind of things come through. Those are one-time things. So we're not on track to get anywhere near that 67,000, but the average of those other 2 years, which is more in line with what we generally see, is 39,000. And then transfer recycle, the reason there's 3 asterisks with that is because there was some requests at town meeting last year and from the selectmen and from everybody that they wanted to see that broken down. So we've set it up so that it's broken down with all the different types of revenues that we receive: metal brush, cycle tires, Freon trash, all that stuff. And then, but in the revenue sheet, you just see the total is projected 121,536. But we broke it down into individual pieces because again, that was a town meeting request more than anything else. Revenue sharing, that is with the last most updated number on the state website. No disrespect to the state of Maine, 676,000. I'm not holding my breath. But with all of that being said, projected revenue of $4,449,125.
What is LRAP?
So that's the local road assistance money that we get from the state to help with, through Maine DOT for upkeep of the roads and that kind of stuff. Or every year I mess that. We should just spell it out. And just,
Any more questions? Comments? Motion?
How can you approve income?
Projected
This-
income.
You need a motion?
no, I don't think so. I mean, I just go over this with you guys every year because usually it's of interest. On the warrant, you say to use the revenues, but the number is not put in there. So with that being said, I think that covers everything, does it not?
I believe so. An honor and a privilege.
Yeah, thank you all for your time.
And, yeah, this is my second year. And so,
Motion to adjourn.
Well, I think he was still talking.
I was giving my speech.
He was saying heartfelt stuff.
No, I wanna hear it. They were getting ready to leave. I'm like, wait.
I just said this is my second year as chairman, for somebody else. It's the pleasure.
Are you gonna,
Yeah.
are you gonna stay on?
How many terms can I do? Do what?
3 in a row.
Three terms in a row, 3 years.
Nobody.
Three terms, 3 years. And so I still got 6 more years.
You only serve as 2 years as chairman.
Yeah.
But then you can take a break and do it again if you want to.
Could I speak to selectmen now that I'm in?
Well, I thought you wanted to be the chair.
No, I don't.
Right, she's
Sounds good.
back up.
Motion been made,
I'm sorry.
motion been made to adjourn. I need a second. I'll second that. All in favor? Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
guys.
think it was a unanimous vote, Kathleen.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you very much, people.
Don't worry, when town meeting time comes, I'm gonna point at you guys.
We have a lot of people here.
I know, and it's funny.
Yeah, good, good. Got a lot of East Oxford people here. This side of Route 46.
East side of the tracks.
No, because I'm not on the track. I'm on the west side of the track.
Me too, I'm on the right side.
I'm on the wrong side.
We're on the right side, they're on the wrong side.
There's a lot of jokes in there, I'll leave them all alone.
I don't think I need that.
If you want me to, sure.
I think I got last 2 years, so. I
Many
gotta-
trees gave their lives for that book.
Yeah, they did. Well,
I appreciate them, I love
some of them were soda bottles. It was a plastic, you know.